All right, Chris Long, welcome to Vlad TV.
How you doing?
How
Good to be here.
How are you feeling?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Good. I'm honestly really happy you're here.
Well, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I feel like whenever, I think where did I run into you last time?
Where did I see you? Maybe at the Chief Keef thing recently?
I think that was it.
I think that was
Yeah. The one, he didn't end up showing up.
No. That was typical. He never shows up. I feel like he never shows up, or he's always super late.
Right. No, I remember one time he had the Zaytoven one, and he literally showed up at the very end, and he was like, "Where's everyone?" And I was like, "Bruh, you showed up. You were listening at the end. That's hilarious." But how are you? Like,
I'm good. Yeah, just been chilling.
What's been going on?
Same old stuff. Just been just kind of grinding away, trying to, do my thing and keep working and documenting and
right.
Working a lot with Ski Mask lately.
Okay,
I was
cool.
working a lot with Trippy in the past year.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, if you don't mind, I would love to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Just being from New Hampshire, right?
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Okay.
So I grew up just outside of Boston. Grew up riding like BMX bikes. So me and my friends would go out, film each other riding, and like that's kind of where the photography and the filming started. And just making bike videos. And then, once YouTube and all, start putting them on the internet and kind of gaining a little notoriety that way in the BMX industry.
Right.
I moved to California in 2011. I moved to California and it was still BMX. I moved to work for a bike company, be the team manager and filmer for a bike company. I did that for a couple of years, more in the BMX stuff, and then kind of got burnt out on it after actually working in the BMX industry. It kind of like, in a way, almost took the fun out of it, of like what riding bikes was for me. So I kind of like got burnt out on that. And then,
did you ever get hurt?
Yeah. I was never like the great rider. I could do some stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, like I've tore my ACL, separated my shoulders, broken some bones, just typical boy stuff growing up, I guess, riding dirt bikes and all that shit. But yeah, just did the BMX thing out here for a few years, and then kind of went like low key for a little while. I was like working like dispensaries and just kind of, because there was a kind of like no work going on. When I first, was out here, I lived with Adam 22. We did BMX stuff together.
That's wild. Shout out to Adam, because I know he's a friend of Vlad's too.
Yeah, I know they're friends.
Yeah.
We did that. We kind of like the podcast that he has now, like kind of started. It was like more of a BMX thing in the beginning. We just like, he wanted to do a podcast. I just basically came home with like the right equipment to start recording some audio and like filming it. We did it in like our apartment a couple times, and it was like just BMX people. And then we moved to my other friend Alfredo's garage, and we kind of like set up a little makeshift studio there. And then that's when, and it was all like BMX at first, and then that's when they kind of they opened the On Some Shit store, which was a BMX store, like bike shop. And that was in downtown LA. So shortly after Adam moved to downtown LA, I was kind of getting out on the BMX thing, and like they were opening a store, so it was like a BMX shop. Like there wasn't like really work for me to do there at the time. The podcast wasn't. It was just BMX. It wasn't anything like generating revenue or anything like that. So that's when I kind of started working in the just doing my own thing, just doing dispensaries and riding motorcycles, and obviously still friends and helped out and, whatever for technical stuff. But then when they moved the store from downtown LA to Melrose.
Right. I remember that.
And No Jumper kind of in that time period went from BMX and transitioned to more popular culture. And then like rappers and stuff like that. And then that's kind of when I got back involved. I called my friend Alfredo, who was part owner of the store. I was like, what's going on? Like I could use some work. And then he was just like, oh, come help us move. You know what I mean? So then I started helping them move the store into Melrose. And then it was like help set the store up. And then I was like working in the store a little bit. And then slowly started helping with the podcast a little bit more than I did before, because they were kind of like on cruise control for a little while, and then I'm a little bit more knowledgeable, I guess, like technical wise, like lighting and cameras and stuff like that, and then started helping that way, and then started kind of like being around a lot more, and then just kind of decided that like, hey, why? Then Adam did the iPhone vlogs, and I was like, why don't I just grab my camera and come out and just film like we used to, like when we were doing BMX stuff, like same idea in my head, like we'd always just be together and I'd always be filming before it was BMX, but now we're just around rappers. And then that's kind of where the vlogs kind of started. And then did that with No Jumper for a little while, and then moved out of there, and then kind of just doing my own thing, but just went to work basically full time for Juice WRLD. And then
Wow, it's crazy because I think you started by you were shooting all the exposed interviews, right?
I mean, everything. I did
Okay.
all the exposed interviews. I was pretty much, helping do all the podcasts and editing. And then when he stopped doing the self-film like iPhone vlogs and started doing like the day in the life vlogs and like that, those were all me and stuff like that too. So
Right.
yeah, and I just kind of like, I just treated it as like the same way I would treat BMX, like try to capture it in the same way. And I went to school for filmmaking. Like I went to college for it, and I like majored in documentary filmmaking. So that's
Oh,
always
okay.
kind of like where my passion has been, is to more documentary style. So even though like a lot of this stuff is like a vlog or whatever, and it's just gonna go on YouTube, I try to like approach it as like, cool, I might only be with you for a day and we're gonna make a video of this day, but like this is gonna be like a 1-day documentary. Like I kind of try to approach it like that, like keep it real. I do all of the vlogs now on my own YouTube channel, and it's the same. You know what I mean? Like if there's nothing to do, like I'm just not gonna put a video up. Like
Right.
it has to be like somewhat. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to just put stuff out to put stuff out. And so I realized that like when I started doing my own YouTube channel, like, well, I'm still hanging around a lot of these rappers, like just on the daily basis, like just pulling up and hanging out. And, there may not be anything specific going on, but, I'm just with a lot of people that like, it took me a little while to realize like, oh, like kids would like kill to be in this position to just be like,
Totally.
pull up to Juice WRLD's house and just be walking, pull up to Trippie Redd's house, like,
Yeah.
don't even call. You just pull up and you just walk in the door and you just like walk back in the kitchen and be like, hey, what's up, guys? You know what I mean? Like, just like your regular friends. And I'm like, I really should be kind of like doing something more with it. And that's why I kind of started doing the vlogs on my own YouTube channel, just kind of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. You guys can come along and see. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to force anything. No,
Right.
like a lot of YouTubers like to just make sure they have like content, and they'll do goofy stuff to like just have stuff. And it's like, if I'm not doing anything, if I'm gonna sit home for 2 weeks and I don't feel like going out, I'm like, you're not gonna get a video, because I'm not gonna force, you know what I mean? I can't force things to happen,
Right.
so.
Do you think that's also why these artists connect with you? Because you don't necessarily come in with like oh, I'm always shooting. It's more so like you come to be a homie.
I mean, yeah, I question it all the time. Like, why do a lot of these rappers even fuck with me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like now, you know what I mean? Like, I still feel like I'm 22 years old. Like, I'm an older fucking white guy hanging out with like a lot of young rappers and stuff like that. But I mean, I think I'm kind of quiet and like introvert a little bit, like in the beginning. But I think a lot of people kind of like after a minute catch the vibe. Like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about famous people, and I learned that in the BMX world. When I was younger, to have pictures of BMX riders on my wall and shit like that. But it wasn't long before like I was traveling to those BMX riders' houses and like sleeping on their couch and filming them for like a whatever BMX video. And I'm just realizing, I'm like, oh, they're just some piece of shit like me. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, they might be like this pro BMX rider, but like they're just some kid that actually was really good and that made it. And like it broke down that wall of like thinking that people like just because they're in a position are like more important than like, like people look up to celebrities, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck that you're a celebrity. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I got over that kind of thing in the BMX. So like when I started hanging out with rappers, it was just like, yeah, I don't really care. I'm just like I just want to chill out and smoke weed with you too. You know what I mean? Like you just want to like half these rappers just want to hang out and smoke blunts and whatever. And it's like, yeah, I just want to do the same thing. Like they want to make music and like I just want to take pictures, you know? So it's like I'm not trying to like I'm like I just want to capture like what's going on and what like I just like capturing a lot of candid stuff. Like if we're all chilling, like there's so many moments in my pictures like you'll just see in a room, just like if we were here right now and I was with a rapper getting interviewed, I would be in the background filming this moment, and I would be in the background taking pictures of this. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of like what I like to do, like just capture all the moments happening in time.
You know, when people saw Juice, they saw you with him. Yeah. Just can you bring us back? I know you guys met at No Jumper. Yeah. Can you bring us back to that interview? What was the energy? What was you and Juice's first interactions?
Our first interactions was he was just like a nice kid, you know what I mean? Like especially in that No Jumper, I met a lot of people, a lot of upcoming rappers. Some made it, some didn't. I think we already had heard Juice's song on like a live stream. I think I already knew like this kid's gonna be huge, because the song was really good. And when the first time I met him, I don't think he wasn't signed yet. It was like his first time out in California. He was just like a super energetic, kid, you know what I mean? Like he was really nice, really humble, personable. We talked, we started talking about like, well, that's the thing with Juice. He really like connects with people, you know what I mean? And he finds a way to find what your connection is and he builds off that. And like, it was like instantly like, oh, you like, because I think he saw my motorcycle out back, and then we were like talking about motorcycles, and then dirt bikes, and like all right there and then like that was our connection, like, and we just built off of that. And then like he's like, oh, you ride, and he was like, then he rode a little bit, but he wasn't like very good at riding. You know, he rode bikes a little bit growing up, but not too much. But then we talk about dirt bikes and stuff like that, and then a couple, I met him a couple more times throughout that year. I think I met him at like I think it was like the end of 2017 or very beginning of 2018-ish. And then I met up with him a few more times that year, or like that summer, to do some like vlogs or whatever and just film some stuff with him. And it was always the same thing. It was like he treated you like, he treated me like right away. You know what I mean? Like I was like a friend, not like no big deal. And we had that connection, and then we just started building off that. And then I think it was like by like September, October, November of 2018, I went over there one day to just film some stuff with him, recording or whatever, just like a vlog or whatever. And he had a dirt bike there, and we were like all day like filming and riding the dirt bike and just having fun. You know what I mean? Like he just wanted to have fun with his friends always. And then he was just like, come over tomorrow. And then I went over the next day, and then he was just like, come over tomorrow. And then I went over the next day, and then I basically never left. It was just, that was it. So. Wow.
How did you pivot into like this assistant and photographer position?
Well, like I said, I once I started hanging out with them, kind of consistently, we were filming, and it was like going to be a vlog. And then like after about a week of filming, I was like, we should just film and not stop and like just do a documentary. And he's like, yeah, it'd be so cool. You know what I mean? Like we intended to like film a documentary. I'm like, we can just film over the next however long, like we film as much as we can, like the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and we can see the progression of your career and everything, your life. And like, we'll just film and just do our thing, and we'll see where it takes us, And he was super with it. You know what I mean? And I feel like he was super with it too, because I think he liked having me around. I liked being around. It was kind of also like, it's in the beginning because I wasn't getting paid. Like I was just going there and hanging out. You know what I mean? So for a long time, it was just basically just, I would go there because he's my friend and we're filming. And I'm like, one day we're going to do something really cool with all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, we have some shit, because he'd be freestyling all the time. And, right. And I think for both of us, it was kind of like an excuse for us to be able to hang out all the time. You know what I mean? So, and then, I started traveling with them and things like that. And then the assistant thing kind of like, it just became like, after like I fully was no longer with No Jumper and like with Juice. And then like at one point I started living with Juice, but I was just doing, more than just filming. You know what I mean? Like, I would go to the store for him, or whatever I had to do. If I had to go around the grocery store or whatever, pick some stuff up. When we traveled, like I would have a lot of times I would sleep he would have a suite, you know what I mean? So like they would have like separate rooms, but I would sleep in his room. Like I would sleep on the couch in like the living room a lot of times. But like I would have a key to his room usually. I would go in there in the morning, start to wake him and Allie up. You know what I mean? Like, guys, get up. We got a flight like this time.
Yeah.
I would start packing his bags for him and stuff. I'd order breakfast, and then I get the breakfast there, and I really get in there. I'm like, all right, now you really got to get up. Bags are packed. You know what I mean? Because you just had to be on top of that stuff. And then that's kind of like where that was. I was just kind of like just doing odds and ends. If he wanted, when we're at the house and stuff like that, like I'd always cook him pizzas. Like he always like those Red Baron pizzas, and he always liked them burnt. Like he always like a little charred in the top always.
I love that.
Yeah. So just just little shit like that, and just